Hello, Asset Management Visionaries. We have an amazing guest, Tami Ryley. Stay tuned. Hello world, Maura here, another episode of Asset Management Visionaries. And today, of course, remember, Asset Management Visionaries is shaping tomorrow. And in the now, I'm with my super great friend and colleague, Tami Ryley. Tami, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Maura.
This is a special opportunity because we don't have too much time of speaking at events or conference. So this is the space that I get to know Tami. So tell the world, who is Tami?
Wow, that's a big opening statement. So, Tami Ryley, I am the Equipment Reliability Program Manager at Starbucks now. I've been in that role for about coming up on 7 years. Prior to that, actually, I spent several decades in the Navy, naval aviator, senior leader in that space, and I grew up internationally overseas. I think that shaped a lot of the way that I look at the world and I interact with the world. And so I guess in a nutshell, that's kind of me right now.
It's amazing. You know, every time I talk to you about that diversity that you bring, the perspectives, tell us a little bit in what way asset management is shaping your career.
Well, when you're at 40,000 feet and you've got a load of passengers and something is going wrong, asset reliability and asset management really takes a firm hold front and center in your mindset. So I think that just that process, that deep association with equipment really brought it home for me at a very young age, the things that I were doing. So managing assets, taking care of equipment, how do you be proactive in that space? How do you have a strategy around that? I think it's been core for me in so many things that I've done for so long.
That's amazing. And tell us a little bit about this diversity when you talk about different countries. Any in particular that you like kind of your top three?
Oh, that's really hard for me to limit. I love the world. I love the color, the culture, the different frame of references that all come together to make us the global community that we are. And I think, you know, it's evident at these conferences that we attend, the IMC and Reliability Conference. You said 16 countries, I think, are here. And I think that's wonderful. Like, equipment is, it's a same space. It's a space that brings us together. It's something that we all need to do. And it doesn't necessarily matter what the equipment is. Like, that's kind of the nuance, but the heart and soul of asset management, equipment reliability is the same regardless of the equipment that you're working on.
Exactly. And you, Tami, at the beginning, Tami mentioned the company she's working. I want to just say one more time, Starbucks. I have to tell, and she knows, but I'm going to say it to the world, I'm a big, big fan. And every place that I visit, I send her a photo, and I love the culture that you promote. You want to tell a little bit the world what Starbucks stands for?
Starbucks is about connection. It's about connections through people, through communities, etc. That's what we strive for. So the stores, the experience, and people coming together, sharing thoughts, ideas, that's where we're at. We do this over a beverage, we do it over food items, and it's a place to explore yourself, explore the world, explore others. And that happens, that's through all levels and phases, the stores, manufacturing, all of those types of things. It's pervasive throughout the entire company and enterprise. And I really appreciate that, right? Because that's how we learn about each other, the world.
Of course. How long have you been working there?
Just over 7 years now, or just under 7 years now.
Where were you before?
I was out on the Olympic Peninsula with the Navy in two capacities. One, active duty Navy. I was a commanding officer of a Naval Operational Support Unit. And then I retired out of that role from the military. And then I stepped into a role with Navy Facilities Engineering Command before I transitioned over to Starbucks.
Thank you for your service, to keep us country safe. And your background is so impressive. For people that are looking into this, that says, I want to learn to fly a plane, I want to get into the Navy, what call to action, what advice would you give them?
So, a shout out to my mom. My mom and my stepdad were awesome. Their grounding thought for us was, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And that really drove me to ask the questions for what I wanted. They always encouraged that. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be competitive if you're unprepared. You need to prepare yourself to be competitive, but ask the question. Ask, I would like to do that role. I would like to try this opportunity. I'd like to go on that trip. I'd like to explore this. I think by being curious, asking questions, I think there's so many times when we let fear of not being the one who's selected, not somebody says no. But if you never ask the question, then it's always no. You're not moving forward. If you ask the question and you get a no, then you can say, okay, well, what could I change? And then you can work on that to get to the place that there's a yes, or there might be a no, and it might not be that that's the best fit. I think flight school, right? Flight school is so competitive to get there. And there are so many things that can go wrong along the way. Your eyes don't work right and don't pass it. Some people, found a heart murmur. They're like, what do you mean I have a heart murmur? I've never had anything like this. We had people who were getting sick in the aircraft, in the training flights and things like that. So many things beyond your control. So if that becomes a no, that means that there's another yes somewhere that is opening a door, that's an opportunity, but you have to ask, you have to explore, you have to, reach out to people who are doing things that you think you want to do, explore that, learn about that, ask the questions, put yourself out there.
I love it, right? Asking questions, get curious. And I love your statement. If one door closes, yeah, it closed, but you keep moving and there are many others. Thank you. I'm going to take that because you hear it a lot, but coming from you, it gets a little different, inspirational phrase, you know? And that's the beauty about lifting one another, supporting one another, and encouraging one another. And talking about encouragement, I know you have been following the group of Women in Reliability and Asset Management with the Association of Asset Management Professionals. Tell us about your involvement and what you have seen of the growth of the group.
So I think there's, I was just thinking it today as I got up from my table at the conference, and I looked and there was a table in front of me and there were like 5 women at the table. And I'm like, all I could do was do, yay, kind of do your little happy dance on the side, because more and more we're getting a presence. Because I think women are the networking, the exposure, the conversations that are professional conversations, but personal conversations, because there are things that are different in the pursuit of career and personal life balance that women need to consider maybe a little bit differently from men, right? There's just some baselines. But I also see that there's just a real growth in the area of men supporting women in non-traditional roles. And all of that's coming together through WIRAM and organizations like WIRAM, right? The advocacy of that, seeing each other, seeing people who are in front, having a conversation, the mentoring piece of it, the work and the webinars and I think just really it's the conversations. And conversation takes us so far. And it's a global conversation. I love the pictures, that you guys displayed earlier of the directors from, Antarctica, UK, we had China, we had South Africa. I mean, it was wonderful. It was just that community of growth and that coming together. And I think then, especially for younger women who are trying to find their place in the world or stepping out, there's a place they can go. It's a safe space. You can ask questions. You can, go one-on-one. You can go back and review other webinars. Just that safe space for conversation and support by both men and women so that we work together, because the diversity of our approaches, our frame of references, our viewpoints, those all come together to make us all stronger, better as people, industries, companies, etc.
Definitely, that diversity of thought is so needed, so many perspectives. And usually in this program, I always say my word synergy. It's all connected. It's all connected. You have to be open also to receive that message. Now, you mentioned work-life balance. What about you? How do you do it?
You know, I work really more like a 40-hour-a-week job, and that's a new thing after my time in the Navy. Time in the Navy, 24/7. You know, you're out there all the time. When they need you, they call you. If you're in a senior leadership position, you're always tied to your phone. All of those kinds of things. So coming to a regular cadence of work is, I guess, balancing for me along those lines. But I'm a problem solver. I love to solve problems. So I'm probably not the best person for workplace balance, because work-life balance, because my brain's always clicking on either, you know, pretty much work problems, you know, kind of thing is the space. I love to travel, and that's a part of my job, is going to all our different manufacturing plants. So that's like a personal win for me. So I think there's a great benefit in matching up your personal goals and just the things that give you energy with what you do at work. Like, work shouldn't be so hard that you just have to grind through every day. There's gonna be periods in your life where you have to grind, but if your overall general satisfaction is, I guess that to me is balance. I have family, I have friends, we connect on the road. You know, my community is not just one set of people, it's this broad range of people where I drop into one place and I'm like, oh, I'm in Ireland. Oh, I think I'll go see Aaron, you know? You just connect with people over and over again. That's the personal piece for me that balances out the work piece. And I always look in the work side, I look for those win-wins, you know? What if there's something that's happening and I'm traveling for work, where's a win around that with personal connection, meeting new people? And because that brings me personal joy, they're just really dovetailed together for me.
Yeah, no, we are so similar. I share with Tami so many things on traveling, on connections. Where was the last place you traveled?
Oh my goodness, I just got back from Iceland.
How was it?
It was wonderful. We were right on the springtime, so we had snow, sleet, rain, sideways rain, wind, blue sky, and sunshine.
Amazing. You recommend it then?
I do. Pick your time of year.
Good.
Pick your time of year. Look at that and do that. So it was a wonderful trip. We did it we were there 9 days. It was a relatively leisurely pace, but it was a wonderful, that feeds my soul to have enough time to do that, explore a new place, learn new things. I wish I would have had a geologist that could have gone in my pocket, because just all the amazing geological things that have happened in that country.
Amazing. I want to go. That one is a place that I haven't, and you have been like, Maura, you have to, and I'm going to go
I
next.
recommend it.
Yeah, I'll let you know, and I'll send you photos from there.
Yeah,
I might even FaceTime you from there.
There's no Starbucks. I looked.
Oh, but maybe soon. Who knows?
Maybe.
It's in the works. Who knows? Tell us about favorite book. What book inspired you? I will say into the personal side, professional side, you pick. And what about music? I'm very interested in what do you listen to?
I got hooked on country going to Jazz Fest, believe it or not, in New Orleans. So I've kind of been a country junkie for a while. So I've been doing that, but I really have a broad range of musical taste. My husband's heavy metal occasionally. Small chunks of heavy metal, but I do enjoy classical. I enjoy musicals. You know, I enjoy the country piece. I enjoy alternative. I love jazz. You know, music reflects where I'm at in my day, and that's what I listen to. So, you know, if I need a thump, then I'm going to go popular music, classic rock kind of thing. And then if I'm just like chill, I want some smooth jazz. I like the Celtic music. There are some artists from Egypt that I'm just
you need to share that.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and find they're just like, it's so energizing. It's like energizing music that I like. So a broad range. It depends on where I'm at.
We might ask you for sharing with our community kind of your playlist, maybe a few songs.
Oh yeah.
So that will be super, super cool. Why not? And what about the book?
Oh, you know, I'm trying to think, because I have two categories of books that I immerse myself. Well, I guess three. I kind of have the work books that you do, you know, for professional development. I have kind of the Make Myself Better books. I think time management, organization, how to organize information in a digital world. And I wish I could remember the title of the book that I did on that. It was just how to organize your digital world. And I'll have to get back to you with
that will be great.
The title on
Yeah,
that, because it really helps streamline what can be really overwhelming. And then I have the total brain candy side of the house, and those will be, mysteries, or throw in a romance every once in a while, some of that kind of stuff. So I'm always reading. I'm always looking for something. I think somebody on LinkedIn had the energy bus. So I just read the energy bus. And that was how do you bring energy to yourself, to your team? How do you keep focus, get momentum, get people headed in the right direction, the same direction? Thrive is another one that I just recently went through, and that's, how do you handle kind of life, and how do you thrive in the life that you're in, and when you come to obstacles and move forward. So that's a broad range.
That's good. We're gonna collect them and share with the audience. That will be great. Tami, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Oh, I have to say that's a hard question.
I need to call this a hard question show.
Yeah, the hard question show. So, where do I see myself in 5 years? I think I'm still trying to define that, and I think sometimes that's maybe a little bit harder when you've had one career and then you're moving on to a second career, and I have to say it's harder not wearing a uniform, right? I would walk in with a uniform, people knew my rank, there was a whole background behind that. So how do you continue to be an influencer? What does that mean? How do you grow into that space? So for me, I guess in 5 years, I want to continue to share what I know, learn from what other people know. I would like to help companies that are in manufacturing, startup companies, I think, in manufacturing, figure out their reliability, their equipment program, their asset management program from the outset, so that they're not going back at 5 years, at 10 years, and having to redo foundational information. And I think as a startup company with a product, you're so focused on the product. You're so focused on the operation and the equipment. Hey, if the equipment is working and it's turning out what you need, that's good. But you forget about, well, engineering has it named this way, automations has it named this way, maintenance has it named this way, ops has it this way. How can you start out on the front end being standardized around that? And I think there's been a lot of good work in that area, the ISO standards, international standards that we have, the uptime elements and how you use and apply those, and then the depth that's behind those, making decisions behind those elements, putting a process in place behind them and adhering to that as you go along. I'd really like to help new companies in that space, I think, evolve into those kind of spaces.
Wow, so much ahead, Tami. I'm so excited for the now with you and what's coming next. So again, I have learned so much from you, particularly. Thank you so much for coming to this show. More to come. We need to do part 2 and 3 with Tami. This is not the end, I'm quite sure. Anything else you want to tell the audience? Any call to action?
Believe in yourself. Know that you have a right to be in the room at the table. Feel comfortable with that. I think some of the challenges that I faced being the only gal at the table or things like that was kind of in my head. Like, am I supposed to be here? I have a different viewpoint. You need to share that different viewpoint. You need to share it with respect. You need to share it not defensively, but to get that different viewpoint out there, because decisions could be made differently that are better for everything based on what you have to offer to the conversation. And the other part is thank you to you, Maura. You are out front, you're doing these things, you're pulling us together. Your energy is amazing. Your closet is like so fashion forward. I'm so excited. And it's just been a real pleasure connecting with you really for the last, 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
So it's been wonderful.
Thank you. Right back at you. And yes, it's about authenticity, about happiness, is our expression. Thank you so much for being with us. More to come. Stay tuned. We're so excited to have you part of our audience. We learn also from you. So send us your questions. If you want to catch up with Tami, we'll get you hooked up on that. Asset Management Visionaries, shaping tomorrow. We'll see you next.